Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lightning Studio podcast. My name is Geoff Stone, and I'm here today with Sarah Round. But before we get started, I want to give Juana a shout out for these Lightning Studio mugs. Her Instagram/business is SmartCraft. Definitely check her out, and maybe we will sell these or something soon and get some more. But Sarah, can you tell me a little bit about who you are and what you do here at GBC?
Um, I'm Sarah. I'm a sophomore. And I'm a psych major. I'm on the women's basketball team, but outside of that, I'm also a resident assistant. I was in the freshman dorm, Leach Hall, this year, and I will also be a resident assistant next year. And I also work in the international admissions office.
I know that when this whole coronavirus situation kind of went down, that the student affairs staff and the RAs were like huge for kind of like making sure everything went smooth and stuff. Can you tell me a little bit about like what you all did and how that process was?
Yeah, so it was a very stressful few days. Jocelyn and Byrne worked really well to try and make sure everyone stayed as calm as possible and like get people home when they could get home. As resident assistants, we just had to make sure that all our residents were calm and weren't worried about where they were going to go or how they were going to get home. We had to make sure that we went around all the dorms and check who had gone home already, if they'd filled out the form that we needed them to fill out, if they'd left the room in a state that they needed to leave it in. And we actually ended up walking around all of the dorms with the president, Keith, and her husband, Barry, to try and check everything so that she could also talk to residents if they needed just to be calmed down or if they had any questions about anything. So it was really great to have their support with it because on top of making sure our residents had somewhere to go, we also had to make sure that we had somewhere to go as well. So
Yeah.
it wasn't ideal, but they did it very well.
Yeah. How did you think like it's an extremely stressful time for everyone? And I know like I graduated last year. I don't know what I would have done if it kind of happened last year. How do you think some of the students are handling it now?
As of right now, I think they're probably happy to be home and with their families. Myself, I'm obviously away from home. I've decided to stay in America. I did speak to my parents about going home, but they preferred me to stay. One, because I have a brother who is graduating in May down in Florida, so there will come a time I have to go and see him and get things from him. But also, there was a worry that if I go home, coming back would be very difficult because flights right now are just not where anyone wants to be. So they were worried that going and coming back would be very difficult, especially with visas and things like that. So
Yeah, that they definitely sound like really good parents that are looking after your
yeah.
best interests and everything. And you obviously have an accent, so you're from England. Can you tell me a little bit about where you're from and the history there?
So I'm from Northampton, which is like an hour outside of London, north of London. It's what is considered quite a big town. It's not a very big place, but it's considered quite a big town. I live in a very small part of that, south of the town, in a village, what we call a village, it's around 300 houses. So there's very few things to do there. School, church, and a pub is literally all we have. But it's a very nice place. A lot of people ask me about the weather back home, and pretty much rains majority of the time.
That's what I
Very
was gonna
grey
ask.
sky, yeah. Very grey sky a lot of the time. When we see sun, it's like an amazing thing, like no one's ever seen it before. But I do miss being home at the moment, seeing my family. It's not easy to be away from home a lot sometimes. So, I call them when I can and make sure that they're safe too.
Yeah, I think you're a great example of our international students here. Like you do so much, and you also work in international admissions, which is great. And then we just recently started up the International Student Association, so it'd be great to have you really involved in that because you've have a lot of experience with that process of coming to the U.S. How long have you had that kind of dream or goal to like come to the U.S. and why did you?
Honestly, I must have decided I was coming to the US maybe when I was 16. So back home, we have these things called basketball academies. So there's multiple around the country. So I chose to go to one in London, which is considered one of the better ones in terms of recruiting, getting players out to America. So I guess when I moved there, the idea of coming to America became a bit more real because I'd seen other players do it. I played with people who had come out here, and they kind of like spoke to us about the process and like how it all works. So that's definitely a time when the idea of coming out here was planted in my mind, I guess. But it wasn't an easy process. It was definitely very difficult, but I'm really glad I did it.
So what's that been like, just the process? Like, what's your experience? Like, what's your story with kind of like, you know, the moment you found out you were going to come to GBC, and then, you know, like working with your family on this big decision, and then coming here, and then your first few days here?
So when I say it wasn't easy, it was really like a really difficult process for me. I had to do everything myself. So like things like SATs, I had to try and figure out how they all worked, because it's very different, I guess, back home. Like, you don't have classes to do SATs. You just study by yourself and then go take the test. So with that, I also was getting like myself a mixtape together so I could send to coaches and trying to find game tape. But I was also like, I had a spreadsheet full of every school in every division and every conference. And I emailed every school that I could find with my mixtape and all my information in it. And the only one that actually got back to me was Goldie. So when I received my offer from Coach Burke, it was like the most amazing thing, because I hadn't played a full year in 3 years. I hadn't played at all. I suffered a lot of injury, so receiving my offer was honestly the most amazing thing, and I really didn't expect it to happen at all.
Before I get into my next question, I just want to highlight that you said mixtape. Is that like, you know, it's like a album, you know?
Yeah, it's
like
different. Like, it's what we call it a mixtape, but I guess you guys call it a highlight tape.
Yeah.
It's just like terminology is different.
Just about to start selling your mixtape on the podcast here. But yeah, no, you've been a great addition to the women's basketball team for sure, and I'm sure Beth Ann just loves to have you. So, what has that experience been like playing on the basketball team here at GBC?
I've loved it. It's been definitely the closest team I've ever played on, and I've played on a lot of different ones, but this one, it's not like any of the other ones. Like, everyone's a friend on the court and off the court, and having Coach Burke is great because she supports you in every way. Like, it's not just like she's your coach and that's it. Like, she's been checking up on me now to see if I'm okay, if I have everything I need, and how I'm doing and things like that. So everyone's just so welcoming, friendly, helpful, and we definitely push each other in a way, not too much, but just to make each other better, you know. The basketball itself is different. It's a different style. European style is I think I prefer it, but I don't dislike the American style. I think it's just different, and watching both, it's I guess it's one that I hadn't experienced before I moved here.
Interesting. So, could you kind of elaborate on that? Just about like the style, the difference between.
Yeah. So I guess European style is more what we call team-based. So lots of passing, lots of work on passing and things like that. But in the US, it seems very much more like a one-on-one kind of style. So a lot of players have all these one-on-one moves, which you don't tend to find back home. Which I don't have those one-on-one moves because it wasn't how I was brought up, and coaching is different and things like that. But I wouldn't say I dislike it. Yeah. It's just something that's different.
It's just different. And so, how was the season this past season that you guys just kind of finished up a month or two ago?
It was difficult. We started the season pretty slow. We played some really tough teams, some regionally ranked teams, which, you know, not many teams ever get to play against. So we were really lucky to get to play against them, although they were difficult. It definitely made us better. In the conference, we started a little slow, and we went on a bit of a run, which definitely built up our confidence a lot. But unfortunately, we did just miss out on playoffs. After a couple of injuries towards the end of the season, it just, you know, it wasn't meant to be, but you know, it's one of those seasons, so next year we'll definitely be there.
What are some of the things that you're looking forward to for next year?
Getting in new players. I'm always excited to see like how those new players integrate into our team and like how they play, because it's different seeing them, like seeing film of them to actually playing with them. It's very different. So I'm always excited to see how they like work with us. Also, after talking to like Coach Burke and things, I'm excited to see like how we're going to change, because I know she wants to change a few things in the way we play, and I'm really excited to see how that works. It's going to be different without our seniors, because they did play a big role. Amanda, Jill, and Key, they did a lot for the team, leading us, and a lot on the court in terms of scoring, and Jill and her rebounds and defense. So yeah, we're really going to miss that. But I think some players will step up this year, and it'll be a good help.
Yeah, those seniors are great people.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk to me a little bit about what it's like for you working with girls from different areas, different countries, different backgrounds, and kind of bringing that cohesion to a team's mission on the court?
Yeah. It's strange because all of us have we've all had very different coaches. No one's obviously had the same coach, and every coach knows a lot of different things. But coming together, we kind of bring all the best parts out of each other and bring it all together into one. So this year we had I was from England. We had 2 players from Finland. So their style was very like mine, which was very different to the rest of the team. But it definitely we brought each other together to try and play as one.
What does Beth Ann do, or does the basketball team do in general to kind of create that cohesion that you think is kind of interesting or different? Or
we did a lot off the court, so we did hang out together as a team to get to know each other a bit more. I would say we did struggle a little bit on the court in terms of cohesion and just knowing each other, how we play, but we were a very young team. We only had 3 seniors and 1 junior, so the rest of us were all sophomore and freshmen, so we haven't been playing together for very long at all. Mm-hmm. So I think next year and the year after, we will know each other a lot more, which will make it easier to play with each other.
And you will be a junior?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So,
yeah.
And you've already had a huge impact in that area. And so, what else has been your experience here at GBC? What have you loved, or what are you looking forward to?
This year, I've really loved being a resident assistant. Just being involved, I feel like I'm a bit more involved in campus and with more faculty, knowing more people on campus, because obviously I have to know my students and other students as well. But just the feel of campus, you feel at home. It's because everything's so close and the school is small, so everyone knows each other. And we are obviously majority international students living on campus. So everyone is kind of in the same place, being away from home, kind of for the first time. It's just everyone feels, welcoming, helpful. You can always find someone that is there to support you. But with the team, the RA team that we had this year, it was just so much fun because I was working with people who I hadn't really spoken to before, and I got to know them so well, and they've become great friends of mine. So it's just being more involved is just great.
Yeah, when I look back at my time, I was always kind of involved, but sometimes I'd be spending a lot of time working on some things. I wouldn't really be in around student affairs, but now that I'm in there all the time, I realize how connected the people in student affairs really are to the pulse of student life and how we really kind of see where it's going in the future too. And so what do you think is what are you excited about for all this new stuff that's coming and the Fronta and the renovations and Jones and stuff like that?
Well, for starters, having Jocelyn as our new director is great. She's so energetic and so helpful and supportive and has all these new ideas that she wants to bring in. I think they're going to be really fun, and it's definitely going to bring in more students, I think, because they're going to see all these things going on campus and they're going to want to stay. And with our new RA team, we're going to have more RAs just because of the new building with Fronta, and we're going to need more support with more students that are coming in. So that's going to be really good fun, getting to know more RAs and more people that I didn't really speak to before. I think the new building is going to be great. I think it's going to be a great addition to campus with all the rooms in it, as well as the common areas, the study rooms. It's just going to be a good place to hang out and get to know more people. I think it's going to bring people out of their rooms a little bit more. This year, I think people struggled to come out of their rooms just because they didn't have things to do. They were very not isolated is the wrong word, but they didn't really know where to go because obviously the cafe's being built, which is where a lot of people used to hang out. So with that being built too, I think a lot of people are going to be coming out of their rooms and just having more fun.
Yeah, and you're really kind of going through your progression here, career at GBC in an exciting time with a new director of resident student life, Jocelyn, and also a new president, Colleen. And she's just kind of flipped this thing and is really student first and involved in a lot of different aspects of the campus. So like what about like the change of GBC have you felt, not just the physical appearance but kind of like the culture and kind of the progression of things?
Yeah, I definitely think it's been different. Having Colleen as our new president, she doesn't feel like a president. She's always she's always walking around campus. You can always just have a conversation with her about anything. She's always asking how we are, things like that. So she really doesn't feel like a president who just stays in their office and doesn't speak to anyone. She definitely have an impact in the short time that she's been here so far. And I think like everyone's just feeling a bit more like relaxed and excited about the things that are going to change next year. I know I am, and I'm hoping other people are too.
Yeah. And so also what you've had to deal with lately, because the semester's not up yet, is transitioning to all your classes online through Zoom. So as a student, what has been your experience with Zoom and your professors and that whole process?
In the short time that they had to like figure out how everything was going to work, I think they've done a good job with that, because I've already had 2 classes on Zoom, and it definitely works really well. Personally, I'm not a fan of online classes because I like to be in a classroom engaging with the teacher, and just I think I do more of my work in the classroom because I know I have to. But obviously I understand the situation at the moment and the circumstances we're in. But I think like they've just done a really good job with trying to sort everything out over such a short period of time.
I think that this has been really good, and I'm excited for the impact that you're going to have over the next few years.
Thank you.
And yeah, well, thank you so much for coming on. And
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, awesome.